Hello and happy Friday. It is the Friday of week 5, and this is a video I've been meaning to make for a while. I've been talking to a lot of you guys individually about what I'm about to talk about today, but I've been trying to make a video, but it just wasn't. It just was the point wasn't coming across. I was getting too complicated. So this video is about the error messages that are thrown by Oracle and how to figure out what they mean and how to track down the problems. Here in week 5, you're in the previous weeks in 2 through 4, you were getting a bunch of errors. You were trying to track them down. But to be honest, that stuff, getting it wrong wasn't the end of the world because you only had 3 weeks of the rewriting existing code using the lab table, so on and so forth. Starting this week, it's a little more, the stakes are a little higher because you are, from now until week 13, everything builds upon everything else. So mistakes you have here will snowball down the line. So we want to track down those errors, try to fix them as best we can, and move on. That's not to say that there can be no errors in your script. I mean, it just happens. This is an educational experience here, so errors are fine. But it's good in life and in a career of being a DBA or having to do database work and in class to understand where the errors are coming from. So I have this code to share with you guys. Okay. Now this was from Lab 4. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to step through the errors, talk about each error as it comes up for this particular lab, and then hopefully this will be able to resonate with you guys about looking at the new errors as they come up. The first thing I want to say, and I think I've said this before, that the errors in Oracle or in any MS, any SQL Server coding are fairly intuitive. If you look at them, they will tell you exactly what's wrong. Sometimes tracking down exactly what's wrong is a little bit complicated, but we'll go through that. Okay, so here we have an insert statement here, and we have our first error that says cannot insert null into student member lab type. Okay, that's, again, it's a pretty obvious one. In the values part of this insert statement, there's a null where there shouldn't be. So if we look back up here into member lab type, here's our insert statement. Member lab type is the second value that's going in. And if I look down here, there it is, there's that null. And that's exactly where the problem is living. So that value should not be a null. It can be a space, like just two quotes. It can be whatever it wants. But the second you see that, that's where the problem is. A lot of times, we see that in queries like this, like this is coming up null, and we're getting an error there. But I'm sure we'll see one of those later on. So again, member lab type is right here. This is the values going in. We know it's not supposed to be null. So there are two solutions to this. One, replace the null with some value that won't upset the database. Two, go into the members lab table and turn off the not null constraint. Either works for the purposes of this lab, as long as you remember to turn it back on. All right, so next error. Next error is right here. Integrity constraint student FK contract lab 2 violated parent. So here we are at line 1 here. So in this, what we have to do is we have to find what exactly that foreign key is referring to. So let me do this. Nope, that's what I want to do. Hang on a second. Hang on 1 second here. There we are. Sorry for the jump there, but I needed to get the code out that I needed to show you guys. I forgot to open it before I started this recording. So here we have the error is sitting here. Again, integrity constraint, student FK contact lab 2 violated parent key not found. So basically what this means is this table, the contact lab table, is pointing to another table in a foreign key relationship, and the other table is the parent. And the value that it's looking for, that you're trying to put into the contact table, does not exist in the parent table. And that's a problem. That's the point of foreign keys. Foreign keys make sure there's data consistency, that value stuff you put into table B is already in table A, and there's no shenanigans going on. So in order to do this and figure out what's going on, you've got to go and find the foreign key. So in this case, if you go back into your lab, your library, and find the creation code for this table, you will see that foreign key 2 is right here, and it references foreign key contact type, referencing, so foreign key, its contact type, referencing common lookup ID. So the column in the table that you're inserting into is contact type, and the parent table is common lookup with common lookup ID. So if I go back to this here and look where contract lab type, this is what's getting the null, and it's mad about that. Okay, and so this is 1, 2, 3 down. So 1, 2, 3 down right here. This right here, this select statement, is what's being inserted into that specific column. That is not coming up with the right value. Now, and I can tell you why this is happening in this particular case. If you look at this, it's not looking for common lookup lab, it's looking for common lookup. Remember, all the changes that were made in this database, all the changes for the labs 2 through 4 were made to the _ lab tables. So here, there's a lab ID for customer and contact that's not in customer lab, common lookup, it's in common lookup lab. So again, you see it's a foreign key constraint. Error. You find the parent. You see what exactly what the reference is. In this case, the contact lab table is trying to reference common lookup lab on the contact lab type being the child to the common lookup ID. It errored out because in this particular case, we're looking at the common lookup table, not the common lookup lab table. Okay, so like I said, if we look at the errors, we track them down. It's a little police work. It's a little CSI, but again, you just have to be patient and work your way through this, especially in the exercises from Lab 5 on, because you're using all the regular tables, using contract, you're using, and the ones you create address, airports, and a couple other ones. So you really have to be able to just walk your way through this. Okay, let's find the next one. This one here. Again, integrity constraint, foreign key address lab 2, violent parent key not found. So we have to go into the creations for the address table. Okay, so let's see if we can find that real quick. Here's the address table. Let's go into that. And we're looking for the foreign key called FK address lab 2. So scroll down here to our table create statements. Foreign key address lab 2. Okay, foreign key address 2. And again, we're looking for the address type is being referenced to common lookup with common lookup ID. So here's address type. It's the third one in 1, 2, 3. So go to our values 1, 2, 3, and we have the same thing here, and it looks like it's the exact same problem. Common lookup should be common lookup lab. So so again, it's the same problem. It's the same error. There's a foreign key constraint that's a problem. We looked to see what the foreign key was. We found out that address was looking at common lookup on comparing address lab type to common lookup ID. And when you ran the query, nothing, that query came back with no value, and that's because we're looking at the wrong table. That should be underscore lab. Okay. Next error. What we got here? Viewer table does not exist. Now, this happens a couple of times in a couple of different reasons. It basically means that whatever code you wrote, Oracle cannot find the item or the table or view that you're looking at. In this case, I don't know what it is, but here's how to troubleshoot it. One, check to see if the table's there. Run your select star from table names. That will tell you if the table is there. That's the first thing. If it's not there, it wasn't created, so go ahead and create the table. If it is there, look how it's spelled. Was it spelled correctly? Was it misspelled? Keep in mind that Oracle is case sensitive. So if it was capital S, capital A, capital L, then, and you're looking for lowercase, it's not going to work. It's going to say I can't find it because it is case sensitive. Okay. Most of these errors that I've seen are from in the first three weeks are from not creating that specific table. So in this case, it's most likely this error was from not creating street address lab. In the later weeks, it's because of misspellings of the tables and things like that. So, or camel casing when it's not supposed to be camel cased and so on and so forth. But again, straightforward error. It's telling you the table doesn't exist. You got to go make sure the table exists and see what it is. Select against the table, run a select statement to see all the tables that are there, by their name, make sure the name is spelled correctly, see if the table is there. And see our next one. This one is, it's another integrity constraint. Again, like I said, I'm not gonna walk through this one again because this is the second one, but integrity constraint, student, foreign key, telephone lab 2, violated parent key not found. So I can tell you that this one is the same as the last one. It's looking at telephone lab type, which is coming from here. Again, we're looking at common lookup lab as opposed to common lookup instead of common lookup lab. So so let me take a step back on this one too and say this. It is very important when there's two things here. Very important when you're writing your code to be as careful as you can in the troubleshooting of your code, particularly in weeks 2 through 4. This, like I said, this is all in, but weeks 2 through 4 were like kind of the warm up to the real stuff. We're starting the real stuff this week, as you've seen, because we're starting the joins. Make sure you troubleshoot your code. Look at it carefully. Make sure things are spelled right. Make sure everything's flowing right. Make sure you're using the right case sensitivity. But the other thing is, and this is very important, the other thing is, if you are having trouble seeing where the problem in your code is, reach out to another student. This is why you have the groups. This is why we have the discussions. Put the code that's getting the error up there and what the error is, and someone will be able to help you. Even if it's just, could you please troubleshoot my code and go through it? I've spent like 25 minutes of my life looking for missing parentheses that I couldn't find. When I handed it to a coworker, they found it in 2 seconds. So you're in groups for a reason. This class is an online class, but it's an online community. Send it to me. Send it to one of the TAs. Send it to someone else. You know, if you put it up, if you submit it for a grade, I will look at it. And if it's a simple error, I will tell you, here's where the error is. In some cases, as some of you have seen, there are too many errors for me to go through, and I say schedule time with me. But regardless, take the time to find out what these errors are, figure them out. And I'm not talking if the counts are off. If the lab says you should be getting 354 rows and you get 320, I don't care. I'm okay with that. 320 rows is close enough. We're in an environment where things are constantly changing. You're asked to poke and prod of these databases. Or if you like the code, you're supposed to get 16 and you get 32 or something like that. Odds are something was run a couple of times. It doesn't matter. I'll look at the code to make sure the code is right, as long as you're getting some results. If you get no results, that's a problem. If you get some results, you're doing okay. Close out my Outlook here so that stuff stops popping up. Okay. All right, let's see if there's another one. Another foreign key constraint. If I look up here, I can see that their customer lab, lookup lab isn't there. Find next. Here. Integrity constraint. Okay. Taylor view does not exist. Again, street lab. Oh, I think we're coming back over. Yeah. Nope. Again, insert in the street address lab. This table doesn't exist. Odds are this table was not made in the initial code run. Something happened. So you have to go back and create it. You will get these errors in weeks 5 through 7, 5 through 13, that the table doesn't exist, because there are tables you need to create. At some point, you're going to create an airports table. At some point in time, you're going to create, I think it's an invoices table. But yeah, so if these don't get created, if there's an error in the creation of it, it's not going to be there. And when you try to do something down the line, it's going to say, hey, the table's not there. So the same thing is true with indexes or rows or column names. Like, it might see the table, but like the column name is misspelled. I can't tell you how many times I've created tables in my code and misspelled the column name and couldn't figure out why. I was getting the error. Again, this is why I handed it to someone else to look at. Because sometimes when you are doing assignments like this and you're writing code for 4 or 5 hours and you're trying to get it in on time and you're stressed, you get tunnel vision. You're like, I can only see this much. And so you want to really lean on someone else. The other thing I've also find helps, I talk to someone about it. I talk to my wife or one of my kids. They don't know what I'm talking about. They're not database administrators. They don't understand coding and all this other stuff. But sometimes just by talking to, I've never tried talking to the dog, but I'm sure it would be the same thing. Sometimes when you're talking out and explaining to somebody, you'll see the mistake. If you're like, hey, this code here is doing this, and it's broken here because, oh, there it is. There's the missing semicolon. Yep. Okay, thanks. And then you go back to your work. Don't be afraid or afraid to ask for help or someone else to look at your stuff, because everyone needs help sometimes. Okay, what else we here? Integrity containing foreign key. Foreign keys are a lot of the errors that we see. Table does not exist. Again, let's see what table doesn't exist on line 11. Student address lab. Okay. And it's interesting when you find this, like, and we're back to the top. So when you look at the errors, like we had like, I think we had basically 3 kinds of errors. We had the null constraint, which is the first one that we talked about. Then there were 3 or 4 that were, no more, there's 5 or 6 that were the foreign key was invalid because the parent wasn't there. And look at it this way: if you had found that first and worked that one out and solved it, and then you say, wait a second, I forgot to put the underscore lab here, and then go to everything else and put the underscore lab there, like those 6 errors would have been fixed with the one thing. And the other 3 or 4 were the address table was street address table was missing. Again, if you solved it the first time, the other 3 would go away almost immediately. Well, not almost immediately; they would go away immediately. Code troubleshooting is not difficult in T-SQL. In C#, in C++, in VB.NET, and all their languages, it can get really hairy when you're trying to troubleshoot code, because the errors that exist in the .NET environment or in the C++ environment, I think, aren't as Englishy as we'd like them to be. They don't say exactly what's wrong. But like I said at the beginning of this course, the thing about Transact SQL or T-SQL, the thing about it is it's English. When you're looking at the statements, select from into, insert into, delete from, update where. So this is English. This isn't some language someone created to do whatnot with. This is just English. Select, insert, update, delete, create, drop, all those others. So it's just very much English. And the errors are also very much in English. Cannot insert null into. You don't get much more straightforward than that. The only thing they can do better is that fix it for you. So to sum up, here at the 25-minute mark, take your time. Take a chance to take an opportunity to look over the code where the errors are. Look at the error code. What is it telling you? What's missing? What's not there? What can it find? Take the time, and when you find the error in one place, check to make sure it's not somewhere else. If you've got 200 or 300 lines of code and you've made a mistake in one place, there's a good chance the same mistake was made someplace else, because you and I both know, no one else is listening, just you and I both know that a lot of copy and pasting happens in this coding environment. A lot of copying and pasting. So if the error was in the original and you copy and paste it 10 times, guess what? The error is there 9 more times. So, be diligent about that. Take the time, and trust me, I had a student last semester who was going through this, and the first 2 errors, it took him like 20, 35, 40 minutes to figure out. But by the time he'd done this for like 3 or 4 weeks, the error was like, was like, oh, that's it, boom, that's fix it, boom, that's it. And here's the thing, when you master this skill of code troubleshooting, when you master the skill of understanding errors and finding them, now they're not all this easy. There's some, you won't see really complicated errors in this course, and those are fun too. But when you get these and the code's not running and the developer hands it to you and tells you to figure it out, you almost have to you figure out in the first 10 seconds, and just not to offend him, you wait like 25 minutes before you told him you found it, because you don't want him to think that he, oh, you must think you're smarter than me because you figured it out in 5 seconds. No, it's just, I know what to look for. So I'm rambling at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. You guys have been doing a great job so far. I'm very excited. I've spoken to most of you one-on-one. Keep it up. I am here to help if you need anything. Reach out, ping me through the Canvas messages, or through anything really. Text me, Hangouts, whatever. And we got 9 more weeks to go, and you're gonna rock it. So you guys take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye now.